Let's explore more autistic history. This is part 89 of a series. So, I have been sharing some of the highlights of Cure Autism Now that they published about between the years of 1996 through 1998. And I'm going to pick up here where I left off. And we left off with the first ever animal model workshop in autism, building animal models for autism through translational neuroscience research. They had that big historic event, right? So now we are in 1998, and this one's interesting. It says, in 1998, we proudly welcomed Miss Lee Rabin, R-A-B-I-N, as a member of CAN's honorary board. Miss Rabin has long been a supporter and activist on behalf of people with autism in Israel, and we are thrilled to have her on board. She joins fellow members Maya Angelou, Anthony Edwards, Councilwoman Jackie Goldberg, Congressman Steve Rothman, Congresswoman Marge Rokema, Renee Russo, and Donna Williams. Donna Williams is an autistic advocate, activist, writer who's had their books published. Nobody Nowhere, Somebody Somewhere. We heard about them in the early years of Autism Network International, or ANI, with Jim Sinclair and Kathy Grant, and they launched ANI, right? So here we're seeing Donna Williams mentioned in this honorary board of Cure Autism Now in 1998. And I don't know more than that at this point, and what the background is there. Donna Williams is from Australia. And so the backstory there and the history I am not very familiar with, but I will tell you, this proves positive that Cure Autism Now, Jonathan Shaystack and Portia Iverson and all the people involved in this autism community, it's proving right there. Donna Williams, they know we exist. Absolutely. So I don't know the story behind this, and I will be looking further into that at some point in the future. But if you already know the history there, I'd love to be able to learn it and understand what those interactions were like. But that is the only reference I see so far, and pretty much it for that. So going forward, it says here in this last entry, CAN board member, parent, and noted pediatrician Dr. Ricky Robinson gave a featured presentation on autism to President Bill Clinton and Vice President Al Gore. President Gore's 1998 family reunion, family empowerment in healthcare. So like that, they have access to worlds that are impossible for most of us. Ooh, it gets fancy here in 1999. It says January 30th, 1999, CAN welcomed the addition of our new Mid-Atlantic chapter. Headquartered in the Potomac, Maryland, I think. This chapter kicked off with a conference attended by over 300 parents and professionals. This chapter held a successful second annual CAN Cup yacht event weekend called the Ship of Dreams. It was a fundraiser held in May that year. So, now we're on yachts. We got celebrities, we have yachts, we have doctors, we have politicians, we have presidents, we have vice presidents. Oh, I told you, this stuff is wow. And speaking of celebrities, it says here, since joining CAN's honorary board early last year, that would be 98, Anthony Edwards, star of the hit series ER, has shown his commitment to children with autism in so many ways. He traveled to Washington, D.C. to help introduce the Advancement in Pediatric Autism Research Act. Remember we talked about that a little bit? Yeah. took the helm at our 98 Can Cup event in San Francisco, had attended numerous fundraisers and cocktail parties for can scientists, and took our mission online and raised over $21,000 as part of Entertainment Asylum's Hollywood Gives series. He was also the force behind a critically important meeting can parents and scientists had on the set of ER our healthcare on the set of ER. Wow. With Senator Frist, chair of the Senate Subcommittee on Health and Human Services. As a result of this meeting, Frist has promised to lend his support to increased autism research funding and innovative efforts like AGRE, the Autism Genetic Resource Exchange, our DNA repository here in the States. And all of this, in addition to Anthony's own incredible $100,000 donation in 1998, has helped to raise substantial funds and invaluable awareness. It talks about the AGRE a little bit in here. It says just 1 year into the recruitment process, DNA samples from the first 150 multiplex families in the Autism Genetic Resource Exchange, AGRE, the world's first collaborative gene bank for autism, are currently being distributed. This is an unprecedented accomplishment and one that is already attracting attention from some of the country's leading research institutions. And thanks to this resource, several top-of-the-line researchers are beginning to shift their focus to autism. An additional 250 families have been identified and recruited, and with proper funding, we hope to have them fully processed by the end of 1999. It says here, CAN's Scientific Advisory Board met in January 1999 to review grants submitted for our second full funding cycle. A total of 3 new Young Investigator Awards and 5 innovative pilot research projects were funded for a total of 2-year commitment of $500,000. Oh, I can't say it. It's 504,556. My brain and numbers. This brings the total funding for these 2 critical programs to over $1.17 million. The projects selected to represent an excellent mix of subjects from genetics to mouse models and imaging, as well as clinical studies with direct implications for families. And it talked about the deadline, with grants being reviewed by the January of the next year. And they speak about an event called Facing Autism 1999 was the theme of a Hillsborough, California fundraiser held on the evening of March 25th, and what an incredible evening it was. Thanks to the efforts of co-chairs Merton and Marva Hanks and Nancy and Gary Fredkin, a dedicated event committee and celebrity supporters, including Anthony Edwards, Renee Russo, Jerry Rice, Randall Cunningham, and Merton Hanks, over a quota of $1 million was raised for CAN's research, education, and outreach programs. And then comes political action and what they accomplished in the year 2000, which is what all this marketing and hoopla and awareness are driving. They're driving to get autism legislation mandated to cover for research. And just, yeah. All right, thank you for learning a little bit more about autistic history with me. I'm going to come back and jump back into this era, and it's just overwhelming, right? I mean, and that's before Autism Speaks hits the scene and makes this look like, oh, it's just, yeah, this